Hi, my name is Cale Rowan and I'm a developer in Microsoft Research. I'm going to show you some of the features of an application I've developed called CodeCanvas. What we are looking at here is a clustered graph view that came from Architecture Explorer that shows a dependency graph of all of the binaries that make up Visual Studio. Let's zoom in to get a closer look at what's inside the core of the Visual Studio platform. Here we can see several binaries, including one called Tetris.exe. So that's what Visual Studio has been doing when it's just sitting there not responding. I'm just kidding. I actually have no idea what Visual Studio is doing when it's just sitting there not responding. Let's zoom in to take a look at the files that make up Tetris.exe. Here we see several files, mostly C#. I'm still too far away to see the actual code in the files, but I can turn on the definition layer to show me full-size labels that show all of the class and member definitions in the file. These show up with the same icons that are in the class diagram view, and when you hover over them they become fully visible, but mostly they stay within their file. Let's go ahead and zoom all the way into source code. Notice how the definition labels fade away since everything is fully readable at this point. Not only is the code readable, but we are actually looking at a full-blown code editor where we can edit and create code just like any other source code editor. But since we're still inside of CodeCanvas, we still have access to all of the spatial information. And whenever we select some source code, then we immediately see where else on the canvas is referring to that code. It looks like there are two references to this GA Tetris class. So let's pan over to the right to see what's over there. Yep, this initialize function is referring to the class we had selected. Let's zoom out to take a look at both of the references at once. Now everything in CodeCanvas is fully interactive and all of the items can be moved, so let's rearrange these files so that the two references to GA Tetris are right next to it. You'll notice we're seeing the definition labels again since we zoomed out, and they are also interactive as well. For example, you can click on them to show references just like you could select the source code. Let's zoom all the way out to see all of the code in Tetris.exe again. Oh, that's too far out. Let's get this lined up a little bit so we can see it all. Okay, good. Now, instead of viewing the code based on files, let's view them in a class diagram instead. First, we'll turn off the definition labels to make things a little cleaner. Next, we'll turn off the file layer so that files no longer have a box behind them. Now we'll turn on the class diagram layer to show each class in its own class diagram border, and we can also see some gray curved edges between the base types and derived types that represent inheritance. Let's also turn off the assembly layer since we already know we're in Tetris.exe. We can see here that there happens to be one big base class that has several small derived classes. Let's zoom into that big base class to see what it is. It looks like it represents a figure, so it's probably the base class for all the little Tetris pieces. It also looks like this file defines some enumeration classes directly above it. Let's zoom out a bit again and turn the definition layer back on so that the class name stays readable even though the source code is too small. We'll also click on the label to see its references, and sure enough it looks like there are lots of references coming from the area of those derived classes. Let's see what they are. It looks like we've got left T, square, line, triangle, L thunder and R thunder, and right T. Those are definitely Tetris pieces. We've also got some Tetris grid class over here that declares a few events. Let's zoom out one last time to get the big picture again. And let's also turn the assembly layer back on to remind us of where we are in the scope of things. That was a quick tour of the first features implemented in CodeCanvas, but there are plenty more to come. My name is Cale Rowan and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please email me at kaelr@microsoft.com with any questions or feedback. Thanks!